Good morning, children, and welcome back to our English class. Children, today we are going to start with a new lesson, An Uncomfortable Bed. The Uncomfortable Bed is written by Guy de Maupassant. Let me tell you something about the author. Guy de Maupassant is a French writer who was born on 5th August 1850 and died on 6th July 1893. He was a 19th century French author, remembered as the master of short story form and as a representative of the naturalist school, who depicted human lives and destinies and social forces in disillusion and often pessimistic terms. He is regarded as the best French writer of short stories. His 300 stories were written in the naturalist style and often described the life of the lower and middle classes. Maupassant is one of those writers whose contribution to literature is often overshadowed by the tragic facts of his life and whose unique experimentation is often ignored in favor of his more popular innovations. It is unsurprising that Guy de Maupassant, his work is often celebrated for its economy. Yet, the praise applies more to the form and structure of these stories than his truncated career. Many cite de Maupassant as one of the progenitors of the modern short story. Much of his work is celebrated for its ability to create time, place, and character in rich detail. While he is the best remembered for his piquant short fiction and clever novels, de Maupassant also wrote a tome poetry as well as extensive travelogues. Now, let me tell you something about the story An Uncomfortable Bed. It is actually a somewhat amusing story where a man is staying with several of his friends at a chateau. Now, this man knows that his friends are fond of practical jokes. When he arrives at the chateau, his friends greet him enthusiastically, are laughing too much at dinner. The funny part is that he works himself up into such a state that through his own actions and an unfortunate coincidence, his friends certainly do end up laughing at him. The sense of humor we see in the story that the friends make fun of him and every time whatever he does become a joke. But it is difficult to understand because we need to concentrate between the lines. It is also obvious that whatsoever the friends did that were to make him frightened, so all his actions were very funny, though he did not feel. Humor is an integral part of Guy de Maupassant's short story. An uncomfortable bed, the narrator arrives at a hunting lodge and immediately begins to suspect that his friends are planning a practical joke at his expense. Noting that my friends were fond of practical joking, he is absolutely convinced that he will be the target of a prank. Declaring that he can smell a practical joke in the air as a dog smells game, while he remains convinced that his friends have something humiliating in mind for him. He cannot figure out what it is. He cautiously searches his darkened room for anything astray or suspicious, dependent upon candlelights for lights. He continues to search for any sign of the practical joke he firmly believes awaits him, finally settling on the bed as probable source of danger. Confident that the bed has been sabotaged in some way and assuming that his actions are being monitored by his friends. He drags the mattress and bedding onto the floor and lies down to sleep with the suspicious bed frame left unused. Much to his chagrin, he discovers that no such prank is in store. Instead, the valet, not knowing the room has been rearranged and the narrator is sleeping on the floor, trips over him, landing on the narrator and spilling the morning cup of tea all over the narrator. In closing, he notes the precautions I had taken in closing the shutters and going to sleep in the middle of the room had only brought about the interlude I had been striving to avoid. Searching in the dark for the source of danger is as inherently humorous as the ironic chain of events would prove to be humorous. However, the story of uncomfortable bed is often too difficult to comprehend in common man's language because, as it is said, double meaning is applied. Therefore, it is advised to read it carefully and understand its meaning and humor. So, dear children, this was a summary and analysis of the lesson that we are going to read. In my next video, I'm going to explain you the first section of the story. Till then, have a good day and take care.